All right, this is great for the Indianapolis Colts. This is fantastic. We're going to talk about the victory they just had over the Steelers, what they did, what this means for the rest of the regular season, how I truly do believe they are not a lock, but they are absolutely in the driver's seat for a playoff berth. So we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff. But before that, if you haven't checked out this channel before, we're Sports Talk Extra. This is our second channel. You see the line behind me. We're big Lions fans. We have a Sports Talk Detroit channel, but we love teams that the national media seems to ignore. And I think the Indianapolis Colts this year have kind of been one of those teams that have gone under the national media, the national radar, because nobody actually thought like, oh, they were going to be as good as they are. I think most people in the beginning of the year thought, all right, rookie quarterback, we'll kind of see what happens. We know we got Shane Steichen coming in. We'll see how much of that is him being a good coach, how much of that is being just the Philadelphia Eagles were loaded. And I think what we're seeing in two different ways. One, how the Eagles can't quite seem to fully get traction. And two, how the Colts, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's playing for them, who's playing quarterback, who's playing running back. It doesn't seem to matter. They just keep getting wins. And I think we need to start having serious conversations about whether or not Steichen deserves to be in the Coach of the Year conversation, because I think he absolutely does. But before we get into all that, let's get into what we saw in this game. And what we saw was an Indianapolis Colts team that thoroughly outplayed the Pittsburgh Steelers. The first quarter, it wasn't looking great, right? You're down, I think it was 13-0. Like, things aren't looking wonderful. There's a block punt. The offense is kind of stagnant and stuttering, and Mitch Trubisky, it's like, oh, he's not good, but if you give him a lead, they might be able to keep that lead. And then the Steelers did what I've said on this channel many times before. They proved they're not real this year. They have been awful as of late, and the Colts proved what also, honestly, we've been talking about a lot on this channel, which is they're good. They're just a good, solid team. I'm not saying they're world beaters. I'm not saying like they're the most explosive team in the game, but they're solid. Gardner Minshew did enough to get the win. And when I say enough, I mean he completed a decent percentage and he did not turn the ball over. That is the difference in this game. Whereas Mitch Trubisky was bad. He's not good. Okay. And he turned the ball over. In fact, at the end, they brought in Mason Rudolph for him. So you look at that. Then let's go on this. Zach Moss on my fantasy team. Man, am I bummed, right? But like I was more bummed because it's like, man, he gets his shot, he gets his opportunity, and now he's hurt. So what happens? Tyler Goodson and Trey Sermon come in, two guys that have gotten very little run so far this year, and they just do their best Thunder and Lightning impersonation. Like, how cool is that to watch, right? You just see them, Trey Sermon with Captain Stiffarm over there. Tyler Goodson had some pop, things that you didn't necessarily expect. And then there were little things that just good teams do. For example, DJ Montgomery, 4th and goal, drops a touchdown pass that he absolutely should have caught. And then what happens on the very next drive? 2 catches, 48 yards, and a touchdown. They went right back to him. I thought that was really, really cool, showed some trust. I just think that's really neat because it keeps you multiple. It keeps you solid. So, all right, we're going to go into a couple things, playoff picture, all that kind of stuff. So here's kind of what I want to talk about with the Colts right now. I think we need to look into just a few different things. And we'll start with the division. Hopefully this isn't too small for you. All right, let me see if I can get it a little bit bigger for you. All right, that should be better. All right, they have put themselves in a really good spot to even like overtake the Jags. All right, and I know they have to beat them by a game just because of the head-to-head and all that kind of stuff. But look at these last 5. The Jags are 2-3. The Colts are 4-1. No team is hotter. I know the Texans were good, but they're injured this week. They were injured last week. They got smoked by the Jets. We love talking about this division. We talk about every team in this division, okay, on this channel. But the Indianapolis Colts are doing really, really solid. Now let's look at what they have the rest of the regular season. The Pittsburgh game was arguably, depending on health of Houston, the Pittsburgh game was arguably their most difficult game left on the schedule. They're heading to Atlanta, a team that they can beat, especially after watching how they ran all over Pittsburgh this week. That was crazy. All right, then they have Las Vegas and then Houston. These are 3 winnable games. They're 3 winnable games. And when you have 3 winnable games and currently you're sitting, all right, when you're currently sitting as the number 7 seed, that's not a bad thing, is it? That's not a bad thing. And the teams that are behind you, all right, are not, I mean, the Broncos are going into Detroit. Go get them, Lions. All right, we're going to try and do, my team is going to try and do your Colts a favor. All right, that's what we're going to do. By the way, speaking of like throwback uniforms, how did you like just the all-white helmets? How do you feel about those? The Lions have throwback uniforms that are all silver helmets. It's okay, but the all-white helmets kind of got a little Penn State vibe going on. I thought it looked really sharp out there. But what doesn't look sharp in your stadium? And like just, you guys got it going on. So you got the Broncos, the Bills, all these teams behind you. The difference is that they have much tougher schedules. The Broncos have the Lions here, all right? I don't know who they have in the division left. The Bills have Dallas this week. The Texans, yes, they have the Titans, but they have to do it very likely without C.J. Stroud, without Nico Collins, all that kind of stuff. So you're sitting here and you're just in backup quarterback central. Everybody's here. You have a shot at the 4. All right, but you're also in here at the 7. So if you're a Colts fan, like, are you starting to wonder if this is real? Like, are you starting to wonder if this is one of those things where, like, oh my goodness, are we actually going to make the playoffs? Like, it's kind of crazy to think about, isn't it? Like, you really do have a shot at making the playoffs. And it goes all the way back to the beginning of the year. Anthony Richardson is the future of this team. I'm not saying Gardner Minshew's the future, but when Richardson got hurt, as much as I love, and we all love watching our franchise future at quarterback play, all of you wanted that. I wanted that for you. It truly did not take away the fact that you could still be good this year. And one of the things that I loved about Shane Steichen and his offense is that they weren't afraid, and they're not afraid to continue to run RPOs. They're running RPOs with Minshew, and you're like, is he really a big threat to run? No, but the running back's still a threat. So no matter what, whether you have a dual threat quarterback or not, they are still finding ways to have multiple threats against you. And it's been kind of fun to see this offense kind of settle in. This defense has had some really good games. Yes, I understand that it wasn't a great game against the Bengals, but there's been a lot of good defensive performances. When you go back to Week 9 against Carolina, they gave up 13. Week 10 against New England, they gave up 6. They gave up 20 to the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I mean, like, they've had a lot of good defensive performances, but it's nice to see them. When they play teams that don't have powerful offenses, the defense balls out. So anyways, hey, maybe you're on the way. Maybe you're on the way to the playoffs. Hope you like it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.